Let us offer our consecration to the Lord. Lord, we offer up to you this day, and we ask that your name be glorified in all that we do. We ask that we may know you, love you, and serve you. We ask that we may do your will so that all who seek to know you may glorify your name through our actions. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Well, we continue through Romans, and today, of course, is the Thursday of the 28th week of Ordinary Times. It's not a special Saints' Day. It's not a feast. It is simply an ordinary day in ordinary time. And we have an extraordinary reading in a sense because this played a strong role in the, the Protestant Reformation. This played a strong role with Martin Luther. And so it's important for us to understand what actually is being said here. And obviously, we disagree with Luther's interpretation. There are many people right here who are listening who agree fully with Luther's interpretation. We as Catholics do not. But whatever, it's important for us to understand what is being said. And I would even go far as to say that we don't disagree as much as it would appear. I've always said before that D. James Kennedy, who was a preacher out of Coral Springs, Florida, is it Coral Springs, Coral Gables, Florida? He did not have a profound love for the Catholic Church by any stretch of the imagination, but he preached on another reading that it kind of touches on this. It's James talking about that we are saved by faith, not by works. But as James says, if you have faith but no works, your faith is dead. And he explained it to his congregation, which, of course, he's no longer living, was a evangelical audience that I wouldn't have disagreed with a single word he said. And if I preached on the same thing, he wouldn't have disagreed with a single word I said. So we may agree with more than it appears. But what he's talking about here is that we are saved by faith, not by works. Well, there are many Catholics, and the evangelicals have confronted them, and I would confront them too, by the way. There are many Catholics that believe that we earn our way to heaven. I get really irritated when I hear that. We earn our way to heaven, they believe, and so if we are good enough, we can get to heaven. That is not Catholic teaching, but many people believe it is. Now, granted, if someone in good faith is living a moral life, then that's a whole different story. Maybe they don't believe in God, maybe they don't accept God, maybe they don't understand the teachings of God, but they seek to live a moral life. That's a little bit different, but that's really not the source of salvation that we're understanding that's part of our faith. So what is it that St. Paul is talking about? Well, he is saying that we are saved by, what it comes down to is people say we are saved by grace, not by works. We are saved by faith, not by works. So the not saved by works is you cannot earn your way to heaven. Now, a lot of what St. Paul will always talk about is that we are not saved by being faithful to the law of the Jews. Remember, he was Jewish, and he was obviously became a convert to Christ, and he became a Messianic Jew, a convert to Christ. So clearly he was teaching about understanding the ways of Christ in light of his Jewish background. But what he was teaching is that the Jewish law and adherence to the Jewish law does not apply in the Christian world. And he scolds Peter over this because Peter was following the Jewish law when he was with Jews and not following the Jewish law when he was with Christians. And Paul said, no, you're either one or the other. And so what it would be, for example, is I don't show my faithfulness to the Lord by not eating pork. I eat pork, by the way. But so, whereas in the Jews, one of the ways that they show their faithfulness to God is by following the Jewish dietary laws. And of those laws are do not eat pork. Now, ironically enough, it's important to understand that if you do go to some parts of the world, I remember when I went to Ecuador, say it right, and I was in Ecuador, and one of the first things we were told is you will not eat pork. It wasn't because of a Jewish dietary law. It's because you all know that there is a parasite in pork products that, if it is not prepared properly, will poison and maybe kill you. And it's called, trichinosis? But anyway, so the Jewish dietary laws also, as I learned from a friend of mine who did some corpsman work during the, I guess in the Gulf War, he said, the Jewish dietary laws and the laws that they held us to were very similar, but they held us to those laws for health. We'll talk more on the other side of the break. We'll be right back. You can now leave a message for us, which we can air and discuss on this program. Just call 617-297-7452. That's 617-297-7452. 617-297-7452. Feel free to call, leave a comment, a question, or even feedback, and we may play it on the air. I can discuss your comment or question as well, so give that a try. 617-297-7452, 617-297-7452. We're back, and we're talking about this powerful reading in Romans. Now, one of the important things to kind of talk about is, in light of some of these rules, is I have a priest who lives with us. He is from Nigeria, and he does not eat pork, but he doesn't eat pork. He grew up not eating pork out of respect for his Muslim neighbors. It has nothing to do with any kind of showing faithfulness to God. And this is what Paul is demonstrating. He's saying that we don't have to live in certain rules in order to show faithfulness to God. That the Lord is showing faithfulness to us, and through his showing faithful to us, it is there that we have salvation. We are saved by the Lord acting in faith towards us, by Jesus dying on the cross and resurrecting, and there we are saved because of his actions. But our response to recognizing those actions, and our response to his actions in our life, and our response to developing that relationship with God, is what leads us to act in a way that shows that we believe in God, that we are servants of God and everything else. So our actions are not what bring us to salvation. Our actions are demonstrations of what we believe. Maybe give you a better example is that I go to church on Sunday. Well, obviously, part of it is because I work there, but even if I'm on vacation and I have the opportunity, obviously, to go to church, which means that I'm not, somewhere in the middle of the desert outside of nowhere. So there is a church nearby. There is a church that I can go to. Then I'm going to go to church on Sunday. Why? Because that's what the Lord has called me to do. If by chance I am someplace which is nowhere near a church, I mean, literally, I cannot possibly get to one, then there are certain things that I can do. Well, obviously, as a priest, I can do Mass. But if I'm not a priest, I can at least read the readings and maybe even read the entire Mass. And that is a way that I can go to Mass if I can't, and I'm not a priest, if I was not a priest, and I can't attend Mass. Do you understand that? I'm doing something that recognizes my connection with God. That doesn't earn me into heaven. It's showing my love for God and acknowledging his love for me. And that goes across the board. So it's actions that I take because of my relationship with God. But I no longer have a law to follow that I must follow or else, except for what the Lord is asking me to do. Am I making myself clear? Hopefully I am. So In other words, we are not saved by this action. We are saved by a relationship with God, and our relationship with God influences how we live in our life. There you go. So if we go to James, which is not the reading today, but it's the similar one, and this is exactly what I was talking about at the very beginning, that our faith without works is dead. If I say I believe in God, but I don't act in a way that demonstrates that I believe in God, then I really don't, even though I'm saying I believe in God. And this is something that Jesus brought out, was lip service. You say you believe, but you obviously don't act in that way. So we need a combination of both, but our works come from our faith. Our works don't earn us into heaven. Do you understand the difference? And that's extremely important, because many Catholics do not. Many Catholics believe that they have to earn their way into heaven, and they will say that they have to be good enough to get into heaven. There is no such thing in any form of Christianity. What there is that I embrace my relationship with God and I act on it. And that's the distinction. If you love God, you will live the commandments. There you go. And that's another distinction. You don't earn your way to heaven. You live by your love of God, which causes you to do many things. We'll talk more tomorrow. Have yourself a blessed day. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com. If you would like to support our program, please consider a donation to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. There are several ways to consider this. One is to purchase any of our merchandise, which you can find at the shopping tab at CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. There are coffee mugs there. There's also my latest book, Encounter Christ in Your Humanity, all of which you can find at the shopping tab at CatholicAudiomedia.com. You can also donate to the show directly through either the Donate tab, also at CatholicAudiomedia.com, or by sending a donation through the U.S. Postal Service with your questions and comments at 43 Holton Street, Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. That's St. Anthony Parish, 43 Holton Street, Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. Finally, the best way you can support our parish is to attend Mass on Sundays at 10 o'clock and be a part of our parish. We thank you for any support you would like to give to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts, the sponsoring parish for this media outreach to Catholics and other Christians in the WROL, WEZE, and podcast listening audience. In Cristo vivimos.